Los Angeles. Brian Windhorst and Ramona reporting Kawhi expected to miss tonight's Game 5 with that knee injury. Also said his status for the rest of the series is in doubt. Rashard, what do you make of this news?
I mean, obviously this is devastating, and I was on the air yesterday on our various shows. The question was, are the Clippers in control of this series now after evening it up at 2 apiece? And I said no. And one of the reasons was, one of the many reasons was Kawhi's knee. We don't know. And obviously right after the game, Kawhi, Ty Lue, everyone was saying it was fine. But knowing his history, knowing he had taken himself out of the game the last 4 minutes, you had to think, okay, this could be something serious. And apparently it is. And this is devastating. The Jazz are winning this series. If Kawhi Leonard cannot play, and there's not another player on that team, even without Paul George, who's great in himself, if Kawhi was there, I would still give them a shot. Without Kawhi Leonard, they're losing the series. If he's out for the rest of the way, they're losing Game 5 for sure if he misses that one.
Well, listen, the Clippers were already in the position of they were going to have to win one game in Utah, which, by the way, since Kawhi and Paul George have joined the Clippers, they have not won a single game in Utah. So that was going to be a tough challenge at full strength. I got to say, I'm going to be candid here, Brandon. I love the NBA, obviously. The NBA playoffs are my favorite 2 months of sports of the year. These NBA playoffs, there's no asterisk, there's nothing like that. But this just sucks, man. We got, let's go up and Anthony Davis injured. LeBron banged up going into it. Chris Paul, all of a sudden, he got hurt, he came back, now he's in COVID protocols. The one healthy team out west had been the Clippers. Well, nope, not anymore. Mike Conley, by the way, not playing. Nobody seemed to care or be talking about it. Out east, Joel Embiid's playing on a torn meniscus. The Nets, Kyrie's out. They bring Harden back. He's on one leg. I don't know about you guys. I'm sitting here watching Durant play all 48 minutes and anxious for him. Anxious for him going into Game 6. Geez Louise. We're talking about how great he is. The whole thing is just guys getting hurt.
So
this is brutal, man.
There's been a lot of discussion over the last couple years about load management and workload, and maybe the NBA should scale back. Now, obviously, it was a shortened offseason, and then they're coming off the bubble shortened off season, then they're starting up this season, so there's a lot more to it. So maybe that discussion is back on the forefront again, where we're looking at maybe it is a little too much. Maybe we need to look at it. These back-to-backs and traveling all over the country for the months they do, it seems to be a lot. So hopefully they look at it and see what ways they can get better. But here's the deal. I'm gonna tap into my player mode right now for the Clippers. Devastating. Bouchard, you already said that. Nick, you said it. This crushing. They fought to get back. It's less than a 7% chance to come back from an 0-2 deficit. They did that against Dallas. They did that against Utah. Now, as an organization, you look at your star player, you're like, man, sorry, man. This sucks. This is brutal. It's brutal for you. It's brutal for us. And now you got to go say, okay, next man up. Paul George, you just had a back-to-back 30-point games. Now this is your moment. This is your time to turn that playoff P to playoff P.
That's right.
Let's go. You just saw Durant do it. So this is a huge opportunity for him. There's nothing you have nothing to lose. We are all going to say that you have no chance. So for me, this is a great opportunity for the Clippers, specifically playoff P.
It's a great call. More first things first after the break. Back with Steven Jackson talking about James Harden's return to the floor. Played 46 minutes. Clearly limited by the hammy and the fact that he played 46 minutes. Just 1 for 10 from the field, 0 for 8 from 3. Here was Harden after the game.
Why was it so important to you, in your own words, to push through and to play tonight?
It's the playoffs, and my team needed me. Simple.
All of us felt like, first we wanted him to be healthy and make sure this is the right decision for him. But once he got out there and tested it out, we were all happy for him, and we knew that would give us an extra spark. So, it was one of those performances from James that, in the stat sheet, it may not look like it was great, but just his energy, his talk, his communication throughout the whole game was just on point. So I'm glad he was out there with us, and can't wait for Game 6.
Stack, I thought KD's answer was fascinating. That it wasn't about the stat sheet, it was about energy and confidence. What'd you make of Steve Nash's decision to play Harden so much last night, 46 minutes?
It was smart, Wiles. To have your other star out there, another vocal guy. Regardless, we all knew he wasn't going to be 110%. We didn't know what we was going to get for James. But the fact that he was out there, it gives the other players confidence. It takes a little pressure off these other guys. Hey, he had 5 points. So what? He had some great assists. He took a lot of pressure off KD where he didn't have to bring the ball up. And that's exactly what I said. Knowing the game, sometimes just having your best player out there is enough, because you got guys out there that's healthy that didn't do what he did, guys that can't hit shots. So just having him out there, you take that chance. And he was able to play 46 minutes and not get hurt, just like KD said. I can't wait for Game 6.
Ooh. And also Stack Wilds. Look, I don't think Nash had a say in this matter. There's some players that just have the power. Some players have the personality where it's like, Coach, I'm playing regardless of what you say. He gets paid more than Nash. He has more power than Nash. So I'm sure that was the conversation, because there's a lot of people like, why did Nash do this? I don't think he had a say in the matter. Look, we all know how important it is to have our stars out there. I thought that was the reason why they won. Now, he didn't impact the game on this, on the stat sheet in a major way, but having him out there on the court, having him on the sideline just suited up, meant everything. There were so many times where we walked in the locker room and our star guys were down and we're all warming up for the game like, oh, is he going to go? Is he not going to go? We're walking into the athletic training room asking the physical therapist, the athletic trainers, what are you hearing about Jay Cutt? What are you hearing about Matt Forte? Are they suiting up or not? So many times I've been hurt, and it had been a game time decision, walking in the locker room, and you feel all eyes on you. You see the athletic trainer surround you. You see the owner comes down from the owner box saying, how are you doing? What are you thinking? You go out there and you test it out, and everybody's around you seeing you warm up to see if you're going to go. Last thing I got, Nick, we opened the stadium up in San Francisco, 49ers new stadium, Chicago Bears, Sunday Night Football. I just had a high ankle sprain, just hurt myself the week before. Knew I couldn't play. He told me 6 weeks. I told them make it a game time decision. I took a lot of pain pills before the game. Kids don't do that. But I went out there. I had 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. I was a super decoy. Now, we got to the red zone. I was able to run 10 yards, catch the ball. But what happened was they double-teamed me. They viced me in the red zone, which opened up the hole for Matt Forte. Martellus Bennett got a one-on-one matchup, and Alshon Jeffrey. So what James Harden was able to do out there was take pressure off the others.
And you still had to pay attention to James the whole night. You didn't know what he was going to do. You didn't know how healthy he was. Those guys were still hugging James. It gave KD more room to drive. 2003, Game 6, David Robinson. His back had basically gave out all year, the year he retired. But just him coming out and playing Game 6 gave us a lot of confidence to end that series. So when you have a player of the caliber of James Harden and David Robinson, long as they're on the court, it do more for the team than having them in street clothes.
Yeah, okay, so all of that I buy and I understand. Can I ask Brandon a quick question? Brandon, that game you're talking about, if you also, in addition to having to be a decoy on offense, if you had to line up and play corner, would you have been good at that?
Thank you.
Or would they have just annihilated you? Like, because I feel like it is one thing, they would have destroyed you. Now, it's a little unfair because in football, you're not asked to do that. But we're only looking at one side of the ball because the Bucks, Steven, only made him play one side of the ball. Wilds. Listen, I saw Bruce Brown when he was out there. He looked like he was still thinking about the missed floater from Game 3. Mike James, the moment's too big for him. Harden, even though he couldn't hit a shot, and I know we saw him throw the ball out of bounds, the ball bounced off his head. He made some good passes. He controlled things on offense, which is why it was so infuriating and just inexplicable.
I totally agree.
That they didn't make him
totally agree.
guard Wilds. He couldn't move laterally, and they let him be a DH. That's on the Bucks. Like, it wouldn't have been this story of him playing 46 minutes if they would have hunted him defensively, like the way it, to me, seemed obvious they should have, Wilds.
You're right, Nick.
Yeah.
You're right.
Stat, can I show you exactly what Nick is talking about? It's in the fourth quarter, so James Harden has already played a ton. So not only injured at this point, he's also tired. And Drew Holiday just takes him off the dribble. And guess what? Remember, Brooklyn doesn't have anyone down there. This is as open as a layup gets. So then